Hey, are you playing the Division 2 right now? Well, if you are, you've probably realized that there's a lot of bugs in the game. And one bug in particular has me palming my face. Guess which bug is back? Yup, in only a few days, the God-rolled crafting bench has made a return. So the devs just did a maintenance and title update 20.1 was released over the night. And today we got the apparel event. We've already covered all of that. But the point of the patch was to fix a bunch of bugs, not to introduce more, right? You're not gonna believe what bug is in the game right now. So the devs did their thing. Apparently they had a 3-hour delay to get the servers back up, but they finally did. And now we're experiencing some really annoying bugs in the game, and some bugs that really needed to be fixed are still outstanding. But one piece of good news I'll hit you up with first is that, you know, that XP bug, that big deal one that should have been emergency patched way back when, at least a week ago. Well, that one was fixed today. So our XP is finally back where it needed to be. Unfortunately, for players like myself, I had already finished my rewards track. So I had to put in more elbow grease than I normally would have if I had the correct XP hitting my character. Anyways, I think everybody in the community had heard about the crafting bench bug, right? Well, in case you were on a different planet, let me tell you what it was. So there was a bug in the game where you could craft god rolled gear and mods at the crafting bench. This wasn't a bug that you could just step up to with your main character and get it to work. It had to be a new character created after they launched Year 6 Season 1. So one of the first things I did was create a new mule to test a new end game that the devs rolled out with this season. So I had a mule, and because I had created a new mule, I was able to craft god rolled gear and mods. But it only took a few days for the devs to do an emergency patch and fix that bug. However, other critical bugs like our XP bug was left untouched. Okay, and for the moment, I'll just say that maybe that was a more complicated bug and they weren't able to get it fixed in the same time frame. But it's just classic, right? It's just classic Division 2 devs to just so happen to have the resources to fix something like this crafting bench bug. Now, a lot of people in the community actually believed it wasn't a bug, and they were arguing that it was a new feature for new players. And that's because in the same weekend we had this bug, the developers had released a free weekend for the game to allow new players to test it out. And for new players, it would be helpful to have god rolled gear and mods because it would make it less painful for them to catch up to us long-term players. Whether you think it's a bug or not, the devs did call it a bug and they patched it. But guess what? With the title update they just launched, it is back. And it's crazy. And I tested it myself. So here's a mule that's stuck right now at level 32. And the reason why this mule is stuck is because the crafting bench has another bug where you can't level up your crafting bench to high end. And don't bother going to the known issues board right now because it hasn't changed in some time. So I don't know what's real and what's not on that thing at the moment. My bench is stuck on superior, so I haven't leveled up this mule and I've left it at level 32 until I get confirmation that the crafting bench leveling up bug has been fixed. So this is a new character I created not that long ago, and at level 32, as you can see, I am getting god rolled gear. It's crazy. Now I can't craft mods because I can't level up my station to high end. But if you're at level 40, there's a chance you might be able to, but I cannot confirm that. Now I was able to on the last mule I created, but then I deleted that mule, but it was kind of a glitchy experience to upgrade the bench, but I got it to work. So there's many people that are experiencing new characters that cannot upgrade the bench to high end, so their character's sort of stuck, and that's where my character is. Either way, I can craft god rolled gear. Now, who's this a benefit for? Well, for long-term players, people that have been in the game for a while, it's really not that helpful. And the reason why is because what we're up against really is RNG. So when we step up to this bench, we're looking for like unicorns and very specific stats. And whether they're god rolled isn't really that important for us because we usually have the resources, because we're out here creating mules, to go ahead and optimize that gear. So it's just not really that big of a deal. It's helpful. I mean, it's saving us resources, so that's good. But at the end of a season, I usually, and a lot of players usually have more resources than they can actually spend. As a good habit, I try to destroy my mule and recreate it every season to refresh my resources. And it only takes me a couple hours to do that. So it's way easy and ensures I don't have to worry about resources. Well, most resources. You know, so this isn't that helpful because RNG is still involved. So when I step up to this, you know, it's not that helpful for me to craft mods, but for new players it is, because God rolled mods are hard to come by. But for somebody that's been playing the game for a long time, we usually have all of those. So we're looking for like unicorn chest pieces and backpacks, or in other words, rare items, more rare items, and that's just all up to RNG and whether it's going to be delivered, whether that's in the open world or here at the bench, and requires more than the resources coming off your watch. So anyways, that long story short, this is mostly a benefit for newer players. You should know that there was a big community debate on whether this was considered a bannable exploit or not. Like I said in my last video, I like to leave things open for the possibilities. I've seen things like this a lot in the game. As a matter of fact, every season there's a bench glitch where you could step up and craft something that doesn't cost you any resources. That's been something that's always been introduced on accident, and the devs would have to come back through and patch it up. So there's always sort of been some sort of bug around the bench with every season. I've never seen anybody banned for it, but it's always possible. The devs could change their mind. So just be aware of that. If you use this glitch, just use it at your own risk. But I just have to take a moment to say there's a greater discussion to be had that this bug bubbles to the surface. And yes, it does relate to Seasons 2.0 that's coming out in just a few months. And I'm going to reserve that for a whole nother video, but I'm going to leave you with this thought. I believe what's really driving Seasons 2.0 is the fact that the devs can't release even the smallest update to this game without breaking it. And if they do something like Seasons 2.0, then they can leave the majority of the game as it is and drive all updates to a more compartmentalized segment of the game, a newer structure. So those changes would be much more contained. That's what I'm thinking. But either way, things are quite rocky right now. What do you guys think? Thank you for hanging out with me today. My name is Tuxedo Bandido, and this was another episode of The Division 2. If you found this video helpful, subscribe, like, and turn on notifications to ensure you don't miss out on the fantastic experiences waiting for you in The Division 2. And if you like builds like this, check out the recommended build video I have here for you. If you have anything you want to see covered, be sure to let me know in the comments below. And thank you to all the channel members and donors who make everything possible. Tux Nation wouldn't be without you.
When you buy a game from Ubisoft, enter the creator code Tuxedo Bandido to support the channel. Easy peasy.
Follow me.
I get it.